Welcome to Book Club The Yappening, a podcast where we discuss every and all things we've read and some of us haven't read, in a safe place where we can yap about life in general. In the description, you'll find links to our Fable, Instagram, and Discord accounts. Please follow for more yapping in different styles. For a warning, we will 100% be spoiling this book, so please pause, go read, and come back to yap. All right, cuddle on up, yappers. We have a good one today.
Let's go. All right, so we will be doing A Great and Terrible Beauty by, hang on, let me make sure I'm saying her name right.
Great and Terrible seems very...
Yes.
You don't even know what I was going to say.
Right, I
I'm
don't know.
Great and Terrible.
Nobody knows.
Jessica's the new Karen for this year.
Yes. Okay, so A Great and Terrible Beauty by Libba Bray.
Library.
And then this is a YA novel. This was absolutely my favorite book series when I was a teenager, so I'm very excited because I've never heard anybody talk about it. I've never known anybody who's read it except the people I made read it. But to start off, content warnings, death of a parent, animal death, self-harm, racism, death, bullying, fire injury, misogyny, and sexism. And then the self-harm portion of things I kind of skirted around, so that won't necessarily be a part of this, so if that's a trigger for you, you should be safe and good to go, because I don't think I even mentioned it at all.
But if they were to read it, just fair warning.
Yeah, but if you read it, then just be aware. Okay, so, picture it, Bombay, 1895. We open with our girl, Miss Gemma Doyle. Tonight she will be celebrating her 16th birthday with her family. She's in the market with her mother. She's being incredibly snotty to her. She's a teenager after all, but she's whining about wanting to get a carriage rather than walk to their destination. Her mother declines, telling her that it's a beautiful day for a walk. She then asks Gemma to keep it civilized. She does not, in fact, keep it civilized. She basically has something to say about literally everything that they're, like, passing or interacting with. Like, she's just full-on snotty teenager.
Or just an old person being like, oh, that store's open. Oh, look at that. There's a dog.
It's very much giving teen. Like, straight up lashing out because, like, things aren't going the way that she wants them to. So, as they're making their way through the market... Gemma's mother notes that turning 16 is not very becoming of Gemma. Gemma snaps back that at 16 most decent girls have been sent to school in London. She complains that her brother Tom wasn't kept prisoner in Bombay. He was allowed to go to London for an education, and she's worried that if she's not allowed to go to school in London, then she'll end up a spinster, because we are very much kind of like the Victorian age type of moment where...
It's giving Bridgerton.
Where basically you go to boarding school where you learn like art, music, and dancing, and then you go to the ballroom scene when you're in your late teens. You pick a husband, or a husband picks you.
Wait, isn't that like debutante like type stuff? Or it's like you go to a fancy school and they teach you etiquette.
Yeah, it's kind of like that. I mean, they are learning like subjects, like they learn French. Also, they learn music. They learn I know French, music, art, and then ballroom dancing are, like, the three classes she mainly mentions having. And then I know that there's a male teacher, so I'm sure that's history or something. I don't know. We don't really focus on the school portion of things, but, okay.
Just to say that, she's 16, she's approaching middle age.
Yes.
Oh my god! Wait, accurate.
Yes, so, alright, let's see. They continue their journey. A man in a cloak then stumbles into her mother. The man apologizes and bows. Gemma notices that there's another man with him, and they're both dressed in the same cloak, so it's an older dude and a younger dude, like a teenage dude and then like a middle-aged kind of moment.
I just picture a second guy hiding under the cloak.
Right, yeah, it's like two men in a trench coat.
Like the first one goes to bend down, the second one, oh.
Literally, yes, absolutely.
About to sneak into a theater.
Yeah.
It's actually 3 children. In a trench coat.
3 raccoons. Okay, so men in cloaks, stumbles into mom. He apologizes, but then he leans down and whispers something in her mom's ear. He whispers, "Circe is near." he has perfect unaccented English. When he apologized, he had like the local dialect like accent, but then when he whispers to her mother, fully like English, like the Queen's English.
Oi, so sorry, governor. Didn't mean to just do that right there. Cersei's coming. Get the fuck out of here.
Well, they're in Bombay, so they're in India. So
I'm not doing that accent. I'm just taking.
No, don't. But I'm saying that he had the local dialect, and then he did not have the local dialect.
Cheerio.
Right. So Gemma believes that he's just speaking nonsense because like Cersei is near. Like, what the fuck? Like, what does that even mean? But she thinks he's trying to distract them so they can pickpocket the ladies. Fair. And then Gemma opens her mouth to kind of be a brat about it, but then she notices that her mom has an absolute look of panic on her face. So, like, whatever he said to her, like, clearly her mother was not okay with what he said. The men then vanish. Gemma asks what's wrong, and her mother says that he must be deranged or something. She tells Gemma that the streets aren't safe nowadays, and she thinks that Gemma should head home. Her mother will go on over to the friend's house solo, which is where they were going. They were walking to a friend's house. Gemma whines that she was promised she would get to eat cake at their destination, so she's very upset. Her mother tells her that clearly Gemma's in a foul mood and she shouldn't be out paying visits to people anyways. She then asks the housekeeper that is with them if she would escort Gemma home. Her mother tells Gemma that if she gets some rest tonight and she is in a better mood, tonight at dinner she'll give Gemma some champagne. So, like, I'll make it up to you later type of thing, but, like, go home.
The cake for you. Alcohol fine.
Correct.
Bribing your kid with alcohol.
Right.
Champagne or just sparkling wine?
It's literally says champagne.
She's 16, she's middle-aged.
Right, you know, elderly, practically. Then her mother takes off her necklace and puts it on Gemma, telling Gemma that she's known that Gemma's always admired it. She then puts her hand up to Gemma's cheek and tells her that she looks so grown up.
Oh my god, the mom's gonna die.
She's staring very intently at Gemma before telling her she will see Gemma at home.
Yep.
What a lie.
I was going to make a joke about, hey, don't let me forget to give you my backstory. I have something very important to tell you later.
Right.
Goodbye for now. Wink.
Right, like in The Walking Dead, anytime somebody is having like just like a really emotional connection, it's like, oh fuck, when you're about to die.
Yeah, in Scream it was, I'll be right back. Nowadays it's, I'll see you soon.
Correct.
I will never see anyone ever again.
Correct.
Not even my killer.
Right. Okay, so, but Gemma's a teenager. She's mad that she's not getting to go have her cake, so she tells her mom that she doesn't care if her mom comes home at all.
What a bitch!
Unfortunately, her mother will in fact not be coming home. Gemma takes off running. She's sobbing. She's furious. She's dashing through the streets of Bombay. She then realizes that she's alone and she doesn't know where she is. So she stops to ask a man, right. She stops to basically ask him, like, hey, how do I get back to the main portion of the market? But he then sees her necklace and he starts getting really fucking aggressive with her. Folks nearby are starting to notice. He points at the necklace and he tells her to go. He's like, get the fuck out of here.
Is this a feminine rage book or just a masculine rage book?
I think everyone's raging.
I'd say neither. It's I would consider it to be like a historical fiction, but I guess I think everything's historical fiction. Or not historical fiction, so sorry, historical fantasy. It's definitely very heavy fantasy, but we are still dealing with like an actual time period, and things, as far as I'm aware, are very like period accurate, at least to whatever extent, but it is like a YA novel.
You just have a history of feminine rage books, and
yeah,
I'm just straight up curious.
Yeah, I mean,
teenage angst, not
it's rage in that we will be dealing with teenage girls, so like yes, there is definitely rage there, but it's not like, let's go. Okay, so Gemma's running, the guy shoots her off. Gemma begins walking, and as she rounds a corner, she sees the younger man in a cloak. She stumbles back, and when she kind of rights herself, so she sees him, she tries to like, I don't want to be near this guy because this guy is freaking me out. She starts to stumble. She kind of rights herself, locks eyes with the guy. He then begins coming straight towards her, and she can tell that, like, he's walking with a purpose. Like, he's very clearly, like, coming at her. So she then gathers up her big skirts and she turns around and she takes off running. But as she starts running, the ground beneath her begins to shift and, like, everything starts, like, kind of shimmering. Her fingers start tingling. The tingle then goes up her arms to her chest. There is a great and terrible pressure. She drops to her knees and she tries to scream, but she isn't able to make a sound. So, like, she's like, what the fuck is happening? The man reaches her. She tries to ask him for help, because she, like, legitimately thinks that she's dying. Then she can all of a sudden smell roses and spices. She then begins to pass out, but before she does, she hears him say, "It's happening."
I love the Roses and Spices fantasy series.
Literally, absolutely. So then she's falling through a tunnel of bright lights and swirling colors. Time seems to be moving backwards. She's legitimately seeing herself at, like, every single age, like, moving backwards to, like,
Going back in her own time.
correct, yes. Let's see. And then as she's going, she notices the moon and eye symbol, and I don't know if I mentioned this, but her mother's necklace is a crescent moon with an eye. So time's moving backwards. She notices that symbol. Then she sees her mother. Her mother is coming towards her, but just behind her is the older man with the cloak. She tries to warn her mother, but the man pulls out a dagger from his cloak. She notices that the man looks afraid. She notices that a shadow that then begins to uncoil itself, kind of like a snake. So darkness spreads out from the creature, so basically like a shadow snake, more or less, and then darkness coming out. From the darkness, though, she can hear, like, cries and moans, and not, like, the good kind of moans. The man rushes forward, and the creature eats him. The shadow is now looming over her mother, and the shadow says, "Come to us, pretty one, we've been waiting." Her mother sees the dagger that the man has dropped. She picks it up, and she quickly plunges it into herself. Next thing Gemma knows is that she's on her back on the streets of Bombay, and she's screaming. The man grabs her and asks her what she saw. She tries to fight him off, and he asks if she saw his brother. She's unable to get out of his grasp, and she is able to get out of his grasp, and now she's running blindly through the streets yet again. She reaches a crowd of people in the main marketplace. They're all gathered around something. She fights her way through, and she sees her mother laying in a pool of blood. Fast forward, 2 months later, Gemma is arriving in London, and her grandmother is sending her off to boarding school. She's going to Spence finishing school. After her mother's death, they, as in herself and her father, have returned home to England. Her father has been shut away in his office with a constant, steady flow of laudanum. And this book is literally the only reason I know what laudanum is. It's basically like a opiate.
Yeah, I know it was a plot point. I think it was in the Winchester movie.
Yes. And then, okay, so she's in the carriage on her way to school. She begins falling through the tunnel again. She sees a little girl. She approaches the girl, and the girl speaks to Gemma. She tells Gemma that Mary is looking for her. Mary sent the girl here, but they need to be careful because it is looking for Gemma too. Gemma asks the girl who she is before she then feels shifting winds. She sees the shadows begin to move, and they form a skeletal face. The little girl tells Gemma that it's too late. The creature smiles at Gemma before letting out a bone-chilling shriek. Gemma screams and tells the girl to run. Then, Gemma is back in the carriage, and she's pulling up to school. As they're moving up the road, Gemma sees a Romani woman. When the Romani woman sees Gemma through the carriage window, she says to Gemma, "Oh, but it's you. You've come back to me." The woman then asks Gemma, "Where's Carolina?" She asks if Gemma took her. The woman is becoming very agitated, And then as the carriage moves on, the woman yells, "Mother Elena sees everything. She knows your heart." Gemma?
We got mystery boxes like it's Christmas.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Choose your mystery.
Yeah.
Literally.
Dark tunnels, creatures, skeletal faces, Carolina, north or south, not sure.
Mm-hmm. Literally. Okay, so Gemma is greeted by the housekeeper once she enters Spence. The housekeeper's name is Bridget. The fact that, like, I fucking struggled to spell this name every single time I typed it, and the way that it's spelled right in this section is absolutely mind-boggling. But the housekeeper's name is Bridget. Gemma's greeted by Bridget. As Gemma enters Spence, Bridget. The way I fucking spelled this name. Okay, sorry. Bridget greets her and basically just says to Gemma, "You're late. You've kept the headmistress waiting." She takes Gemma to the headmistress's office. The headmistress is
Sorry, my carriage wouldn't start.
Right. Is Mrs. Nightwing.
The horses were sleepy.
I know. Mrs. Nightwing begins her speech by telling Gemma that they don't normally admit girls of such advanced age. But that given the circumstances, she feels it is her Christian duty to take Gemma in.
Is her name actually Nightwing?
It is, and, like, when I read this book as a teenager, I always read it as Nightwig, and I typed it out, and I'm like, Nightwing? That's definitely not Nightwing. And I looked at it, I'm like, sure as shit, there's an N in there. Or 2 N's.
All right, enter Batman.
Right.
Yeah, it's not bad. It just makes you think of her perched on the edge of a building,
right,
ready to fight crime because that's how she was trained.
Literally.
She was another orphan that Batman had adopted.
Absolutely.
Trained.
Starfire.
Yes. Okay, so Mrs. Nightwig tells her it's her Christian duty to help Gemma. Mrs. Nightwing, exactly, gives Gemma a rundown of her school schedule, which classes she's going to be taking, etc. She takes Gemma up to her room. As she's walking Gemma up to the 3rd floor, Mrs. Nightwing tells Gemma that the returning girls typically get better rooms, and Gemma will be rooming with Anne Bradshaw, the scholarship student. And
my theory right now is that I was looking for a point to jump in. This is actually a drag queen because they have a night wig and a day wig.
Absolutely. We love a wig for all hours of the day.
Mm-hmm.
I personally like the afternoon wig the best. Okay, so...
Sorry.
No, you're good. She's rooming with Anne Bradshaw, who is the scholarship student, and as I'm sure we all know in these types of stories, scholarship student equals poor. After arriving in Gemma's room, Mrs. Nightwing instructs her to dress for prayers. While walking Gemma to prayers, Gemma notices a closed door. She asks where the door goes. Mrs. Nightwing tells her that it's the east wing, and that it had been destroyed in a fire, so now it's sealed off to save on, like, heating costs. As they pass, Gemma notices a shadow moving under the door. We get down to the chapel. There's, like, a chapel on the grounds outside of the school. She's introduced to Anne, who Gemma describes as doughy and plain. Anne tells Gemma both her parents have died, and rather than her taking her in, her family just sent her off to the school so that she can train to become a governess, basically. Her family's like, don't want to deal with you, you go, and then you can just have a job later somewhere else. Anne...
I'm still laughing over doughy.
I know, literally, doughy and plain, for the love of fuck. Anne goes on to give Gemma a rundown of the different girls that are going to be in her classes with her. She very specifically tells Gemma about Felicity and Pippa. Anne tells Gemma to be careful around them, but as she's saying this, of course, they're standing directly behind Anne. Felicity then lays into Anne for gossiping. She then tells Gemma it was nice to meet her, but she calls her Mrs. Doily. And then as they walk off, Pippa shoulder checks Gemma. Later that night, Gemma is awoken by Felicity. Felicity's basically in her room, like, standing over her.
Ew.
Right. Felicity and her bully squad of Pippa, Elizabeth, and Cecily, they take Gemma out to the chapel.
Is this historical fantasy or American Girl?
Literally. I mean, they're not in America, but...
They were named like it.
I mean, yeah.
No, just I know this is like a little bit of an older book, but just the fact that they are using actual names and not vaguely fantasy sounding names that sound like real names.
Well, that's-
Alexandria.
Yeah, right.
Rysand.
Yes. Although I have absolutely seen that name in like a normal world. Like, I very recently saw that name somewhere, and it was like in like a it was like a real person's name, and I was like, that is strange. But also, I'm sure we're in like a couple of years we'll be seeing those names fucking everywhere as the fantasy girlies start popping out kids.
I'm ready for that one.
Yeah.
I remember us talking about like all these names are like almost normal. Nesta's like the only one that sounds like it could be a name like a from the past.
Yeah.
Everything else is like a little fantasy.
Mhm.
Then you got Elizabeth, Pippa, Felicity. Just good old American girls and just doing the best they can.
I mean, yeah, boarding school girls. That's why I said historical fantasy. But it feels like most of the fantasy I read is historical fantasy. So I'm like, maybe I just don't understand what historical fantasy is, but
I feel like, not to get off track, but it's typically historical just because they had to create urban, like the name urban fantasy for something modern.
I think it's like Bridgerton is kind of historical but not accurate.
yeah, no, that's,
Yeah.
but that's,
Yeah, I would say it's historical.
okay.
Yeah.
Anyways, so they, the girls take Gemma out to the chapel, and then they tell Gemma that she too can be a bully, but she just has to steal the chapel wine to prove that she's worthy of joining their little clique. Gemma enters the chapel because she ain't a little bitch. She's like, you guys are annoying, but like, you dragged me out here, fine, I'll steal the wine. But as Gemma gets into the chapel, the girls bolt the door and lock her in. Like, that's the reason they brought her out, was to get her in trouble by locking her inside the chapel. Gemma is making her way through the chapel. It's dark, so she can't really see anything, and she's just kind of feeling her way through the chapel. But then she hears someone cough inside the chapel. Gemma attempts to run because she's real startled. Right, Jesus is a cougher. She tries to run, someone grabs her. Gemma threatens to scream, but then the person who grabbed her is a young man. He simply says, "But how would you explain being alone with me in the middle of the night without proper clothes on, Miss Doyle?" Upon the man lighting a lantern, Gemma is stunned to realize that it is the younger man from the market in Bombay standing there. Gemma asks who he is. He like does this thing where he's like, "I'm not telling you anything," and then proceeds to answer all of her questions. So like, that's just literally how he handles him.
Don't tell him
any
secrets. Don't tell him any damn secrets.
Right.
He's gonna fucking
Right.
steal.
He's just very like, it's none of your business, and then he's like, "But here's my name." So
he's Will Ferrell in Austin Powers. You asked me 3 times, it annoys me, I'll tell you anything.
Right. So his name is Kartik. He tells her that he...
That's a fancy name.
I think...
Or sci-fi.
Maybe, I don't know.
Oh, no.
Huh.
I'm gonna say that. Dark child. I don't know. Like, is he like...
He's not white, if that's what you're asking.
No,
okay.
I'm
Girl,
asking,
that's the weirdest way to ask.
You know how we have dark daddies?
Like, like a shadow daddy.
Yeah, but I don't have to call a fucking child that. Like, that's...
He's not a shadow daddy.
Did we bleep this out? I think we bleep this portion out. Because
that also sounds worse.
I mean, no, it's
like, am I gonna get in trouble for this?
You're not, because you didn't mean it the way I thought you meant it. No, I'm like, that's the most unhinged way to ask that question.
I hate reading like young adult shit because I'm like, they're obviously marketing towards that. So I'm like,
no, you're fine. You're fine.
Is he the dark love interest, like dark?
The dark brooding
love interest.
It is very much like enemies to lovers, but it's also YA lovers, so it's not anything disturbing. We don't necessarily see anything that would be pervy.
No.
But yes, he is going.
That's what I was asking. I'm like, is he the
Yes, enemies to lovers.
Yeah, is he like
1000%?
Yeah.
Dark.
I'm assuming there's witches involved. They said Cersei.
a different author or a different genre would have said that like he growled.
He growled.
I mean, he does pin her to a wall with her hands above her head at another point.
That's inappropriate for a 16-year-old.
I was gonna ask one of the like dark tunnels that she went into, the one that like knock the guy down, and the mom like stabbed herself. The potential shadow daddy, but no, YA. Don't get your head out of the gut.
Exactly.
Get your head out of the
That's
gutter.
what I was trying to say.
Right.
Ask without
No.
it being fucking weird.
There is a romance element. It's certainly not the focal point, at least not in this book. I do think later in the series it does become more of a like
the reason why I brought it up because his name is fancy. Like, you know, like Rysand or like
right.
Like,
I don't necessarily know if it is meant to be fantasy or if it's just like a different culture's name.
Yeah, I'm like, this just sounds fancy.
I'm not familiar with the name, but I don't necessarily think it's directly fantasy, but whatever. Anyways, he said that he's followed her here from Bombay because he needs to talk to her. He asks her about the vision that she had on the streets of Bombay. She describes her vision to him and tells him that he tells her that her mother was lucky that she killed herself so that she wasn't taken by the shadow monster. Gemma goes on to tell him that she had another vision. He's really alarmed by this, and he tells her that she can't tell anyone what she's seen or what's been happening to her, or else she will be in great and terrible danger. He tells her she needs to close her mind off to the visions, stating that if she does, they'll stop soon enough. He tells her that they will be watching her. Just then, Gemma hears the sound of the front door being unlocked. She looks up and sees that the Reverend is coming inside the chapel. She turns and Kartik is gone.
Kartik is actually an Indian name.
I figured.
I just wanted to confirm because
no, I assumed
here we are being like it's fantastical or sci-fi. No, it is an actual name.
That's what.
Just a different culture.
That's what I said.
Most cultures.
I was curious.
I know.
And I wanted to clarify.
Thank you.
For the viewer's sake, not because I'm a man that needs to correct his wife and put her in her place.
I'm in the middle of this and I don't want to be.
I'm saying that. I'm not doing that.
Yeah, I'm just kidding.
Better act right, boy. No, I'm kidding.
Oh my God.
I also just edited an episode where you made and they were roommates joke, and I 1 minute later said, and they were roommates, completely not paying attention and not trying to steal the light from you.
I know. But also, like,
I just have ADHD.
A fun drinking game would be, like, drink anytime somebody says, and they were roommates, because I'm going to say that multiple times in this book.
We can make that a mini episode.
Literally. Just like, and they were roommates
counter.
compilation.
I counter in the video.
Yes. Okay. Gemma sees the Reverend coming in. She turns. Kartik's gone. Gemma grabs the communion wine and then she makes a beeline for the side door. As she's seething and she's making her way back to the school. As she's moving, she sees the little girl from the vision standing, shimmering light. The girl approaches Gemma. The way I wrote this makes no sense. But the girl approaches Gemma, telling her to follow her. The little girl brings Gemma to a cave. She instructs her to look behind a rock, stating that Mary told her to look because she needs to find the entrance herself. With that, the little girl is gone.
And she's going to bolt the rock behind her.
Yes. It's just Gemma's being like,
I guess I'm falling for this.
Fucked around all night. Okay, so Gemma moves the rock, and inside she finds a leather-bound journal. It's hidden in a hole in the cave. The journal belongs to Mary Dowd. Mary attended Spence in 1871, along with her best friend, Sarah Reese Toome. Before heading to breakfast the next morning, Gem makes a quick detour to stash the stolen wine. And when I say stashed, I mean she just literally leaves it in Felicity's sitting chair in the middle of the fucking
I love that.
main sitting room.
Mm-hmm.
So she goes to her first class. The bully squad roll up and they start taunting her. Gemma's chill as fuck. She's a bad bitch. And she just plays it cool, telling Felicity that she had procured the requested item. Felicity gets kind of excited, like, hell yeah, she got the wine. And she goes, where'd you hide it? And Gemma simply says she didn't think it would be wise to hide it because then Felicity might not be able to find it. So she left it for her in the main sitting room on her chair. But class is starting and Felicity can't do shit about it. So after class, Felicity fucking dashes out there to grab the wine. A week goes by. Gemma is telling us that school is super boring. She's stating that the only time she feels alive is in Miss Moore's art class. Rather than just drawing, Miss Moore asks the girls their opinions on things, which is Gemma just loves. But she
Have lots of opinions.
Right. She's not just teaching them how to draw. She's relating art pieces to poems. She's asking the girls to kind of break stuff down. You're looking at this picture. What do you see? So she's like very much asking them to use their minds rather than just like, here's how you paint a pretty picture. And Gemma is very much enjoying this class. They discuss the picture in the poem Lady of Shalott. The girls begin discussing curses, in which leads Miss Moore to state that this week the girls will be taking a walk through the woods to go explore the old caves, stating that the caves can tell them far more about art than she can. After class, Gemma rushes back to her room to read the diary. In the diary, Mary writes about her 16th birthday. 1 week after that, she begins having visions. She was told by Sarah that if she opens herself to the visions and allows them to come, then she'll be able to control them. So rather than her just being like flung into something, if she like relaxes, then she'll be able to like to some extent control her visions. Let's see. Mary very excitedly writes about her first vision that she could control, stating that they're not frightful, they're actually beautiful. As Mary has welcomed the vision, a door of light has appeared for her. Mary was able to step through the door and into what she describes as a realm of beauty. It's a lush garden with a river, trees, and falling flowers. Mary goes on to say that anything you wish becomes reality in this special realm, and she writes that she spent hours in the garden, but when she returned, no time had passed in the real world. So, like, a la Narnia.
Okay.
Gemma is very comforted to know that other girls have gone through this. However, Mary's account is vastly different from what Kartek told her. He basically is telling her that this is dangerous, you shouldn't be doing this, but Mary is like, this is beautiful and wonderful. So she's just kind of like, well, who do I believe? This like random journal or this random guy, essentially. So she tucks away the journal and she goes for a walk to clear her head. As she's walking through the woods, Gemma comes across a like old rundown boathouse, and she sits along the shore. She's just kind of listening to the boat just kind of float in the water. She ends up falling asleep after like having a full-on sob sesh. She's like thinking about her mother, and she's just kind of giving herself a minute to like feel those feelings, and then she takes a little nap. Gemma dreams that she's chasing her mother through a forest. While her mother runs, her dress snags on a branch and tears. Gemma grabs the scrap of fabric, tucks it in her bodice, and continues to chase after her mother. The dream then brings Gemma to the east wing of Spence. Gemma hears whispers beckoning her to enter the east wing. When she opens the door, she sees the wing as it once was. It's not charred and burned. She sees in the center of the room a small girl huddled, holding a doll. The girl looks up at Gemma and says, "They promised me my dolly." Before Gemma can react or kind of be like, what the fuck is happening, the east wing melts away and Gemma's standing in a barren, frozen forest. There, she is able to make out Kartik's brother, Amar, before she then snaps awake. As Gemma is coming to her senses, she realizes that she can hear giggling coming from behind the boathouse. She approaches and realizes that the giggles are coming from Felicity.
Is Amar the older one from the market? Okay.
Yeah, so Amar and Kartik are brothers.
Right, and I know one of them. I don't know if he got stabbed or just when she came through.
Got ate by the monster.
Yes.
Got ya. Okay.
And
so,
now he's in a frozen waste.
So Kartik is the one that was like, "Have you seen my brother?" Mm-hmm. Okay.
So Kartik's like a 16-year-old, and Amar was like quite a bit older than he was.
I remember like a brother being mentioned, but
yeah. Okay. And then, so she goes around the...
She just got banished to the Shadow Realm.
Yes. Okay. She comes around the side of the boathouse, and she sees Felicity there, who is with a Romani boy, and she's, like, giggling. They're having a little make-out sesh. Gemma then confronts Felicity, like, babe, what the fuck are you doing? Also, you're a bitch. But as...
Side note.
Right. As they're, like, having a little catty moment, because Felicity is just kind of like, fuck off... Gemma and Felicity hear Mrs. Nightwing coming through the forest. She's looking for them. She knows that they've gone out into the forest, and she's, like, coming through to, like, find them. Felicity panics and begs Gemma not to tell Mrs. Nightwing that she saw Felicity, like, more or less hooking up with a Romani fella. Felicity offers Gemma some form of payment. She's like, I'll give you my new gloves, I'll give you my ring, like, please, please, please. And Gemma just tells Felicity, you'll just be in my debt. Felicity says, great, love that. Gemma then pushes her into the water. As Mrs. Nightwing approaches, she asks Felicity and Gemma what the fuck they're doing out there. Gemma very quickly explains that they had decided to take the boat out in the water and Felicity fell overboard. Mrs. Nightwing buys this and she basically scolds them for going out into the woods so far by themselves. Like, it's not safe out here. There's a boarding school with, like, a Romani camp just, like, on the grounds, which is very strange. And so that's kind of where the racism comes in, and that very specific slur is used left and right. I don't think the word Romani appears in this book not once.
I presumed that.
So you were
updating it.
Yes. Because I'm not out here just trying to say slurs left and right, because that's gross.
Fair.
So anyways, on the way back up to the school, Pippa rushes up to Felicity asking her what happened. Basically, like, girl, what's the tea? And Felicity basically gaslights her and tells her that Gemma was telling the truth and that if Pippa thinks that something else was happening, she's using her overactive imagination.
Damn, gaslighting.
Right. And so then Felicity links arms with Gemma and they walk off together. And Pippa is, like, Felicity's bestie, and she's just like, the fuck just happened? Because she's like, last I checked, we hate this bitch. Like, what are you doing? So then Felicity explains to Gemma that Pippa is very sheltered and she wouldn't understand Felicity having a secret Romani hookup. But then Felicity can tell that Gemma understands and she believes that her and Gemma are going to be good friends. She's basically like, Pippa wouldn't understand, but you get it. So she's like, we're going to be really good friends. And then they walk off together. Felicity then goes, oh, what's tucked into your bodice? And Gemma pulls it out and it is the scrap of her mother's dress. After dinner, Gemma feigns that she's sick. And so she goes up to her room for the evening. Once in her room, she sees Kartek leaving a message. She blocks him in the doorway, and they have a bit of a standoff. Gemma's trying to get some info out of him, who he is, who he works for, why they want her to shut off the visions. He basically is doing the I'm not gonna tell you shit, and
then tell her shit.
Right. She threatens to call for help. Basically, she's like, you're gonna fucking tell me or I'm gonna scream and say that there's a thief in my room. He then pins her to the wall. He then goes on to tell her that he can't be stopped. He's part of a brotherhood called the Rakashana. He goes on to say that the brotherhood can be traced all the way back to the Knights Templar, that they are the guardians of the realms now, and that the time of the old ways is past, and he won't let her bring them back. She tells him that she has no idea what the fuck he's talking about. He tells her that the Order and Circe want her to reopen the realms. She tries to get more info out of him because, again, she literally has no idea what the fuck he's talking about. And she tells him that she saw her mother and she saw Amar in a very recent vision. He tells her that what she saw was just a trick from the Order. He leaves, telling her again that the realms have to remain closed.
Sounds like Witch Hunter versus Witch. That's what it's giving for me, kind of.
The next day, the class takes the trip out to the caves. Inside are cave drawings, and Miss Moore explains that the drawings are depictions of goddesses from many different cultures. She tells the girls that travelers came to this area and this cave because they knew it was safe to practice magic there. Miss Moore goes on to say that women who have power have always been feared. After explaining more mythology, like she gets really into some nitty-gritty details, she tells the girls that they should read more because the girls like literally know nothing about what she's talking about regarding just general mythology concepts.
Read a book.
More or less that's what she says. She basically says something along the lines of your minds aren't cages, they're gardens type of thing. Like,
I like that.
Right. So she then tells the girls, okay, let's go draw. So, she's kind of walking around, looking at everybody's sketches. She sees Gemma sketching, and she says that it's very interesting that Gemma decided to draw the crescent eye. Anne says, "Oh, that's a symbol on your necklace," and Miss Moore takes a look at the necklace. Gemma asks if Miss Moore knows what it is, and Miss Moore tells Gemma that it's the sign of, it's the symbol of the order. She goes on to explain that in folklore, the order were a powerful group of sorceresses who once had access to a mystical world where they were able to practice magic. After class, Felicity pulls Gemma aside and tells her that they should start an order of their own. Felicity intends this to include her goon squad. Gemma says she will only agree to, join their club if Anne can come along.
The doughy plain one.
The doughy plain one.
The plain donut.
Felicity shrugs.
Plain donuts.
Literally.
Oh yeah, nothing wrong with it. Just like Anne.
Cider.
Oh.
Cider mill donuts.
Oh my god.
Okay, so Gemma says, "I'll only hang out with you guys if Anne can come." Felicity shrugs and says that the other girls won't like it, but that she can probably sway Pippa into agreeing because, again, Pippa's her bestie, and so she'll kind of go along with whatever Felicity says. The plan is that the girls are going to go out to the cave at midnight. That night, Anne, Gemma, Pippa, and Felicity, the other goons, did not attend, all make their way into the cave. The girl passes around the stolen bottle of wine, and as they take a sip, they realize that it's actually the Reverend's whiskey. She didn't grab the wine, she grabbed whiskey.
Whiskey!
Yes. Right. So the girls pass around the bottle. They're getting a little toasty. They decide to kind of come up with a name for themselves, and they decide that they are the Order Reborn. They then begin to debate of how much of what Miss Moore told them was actually true. Gemma then pulls out the diary and explains to the girls that Mary Dowd, who Mary Dowd was, and Felicity and Pippa grab the journal and they immediately start flipping through the journal. And there's really a funny moment where Gemma goes, "Oh, have you gotten to this part yet?" And Felicity goes, "Oh, we're past that." And she's like, "I haven't even gotten past that." So she scoots up and they're reading the journal.
Spoilers.
Right. They start reading it aloud to each other, and they decide that this is going to be their nightly hangout. Every minute they're going to go out to the cave and they're just going to read chunks of the journal. Gemma no. Nothing especially important happens in these entries that they're reading here, but Mary does speak of a Eugenia who is helping Sarah and Mary with their powers, and the girls are like, "Is that Eugenia Spence, the former headmistress of the school?" They then decide that they're going to make a blood pact. They cut themselves open with Gemma's necklace. They decide to state their heart's desires over a candle. Felicity ends by saying, "Great goddesses on these walls, grant us our desires." And with that, the candle snuffs itself out. Side note, there is a side story about Pippa. As all this is kind of happening, they're going about classes and stuff, her mother keeps arranging dates with Pippa with a 50-year-old named Mr. Bumble. So, Pippa's, very concerned, because her mom keeps, arranging dates with dudes, but then Mr. Bumble keeps being the date, and she's like, "I fucking hope she doesn't try to marry me off." And, basically, their family has gone into debt, so they're very quickly trying to get Pippa married off to somebody so that they can essentially have more wealth.
Mr. Bumble.
Yes. So Pippa explains that her mother's trying to rush her off to marry before they find out what they're getting into, and it's too late, implying that there's something wrong with Pippa as well. So it's partially because there's something wrong with Pippa that her mom wants her to get married before anybody finds out this secret about her, but also they want money. So,
Pippa Bumble sounds like that's a made up name by a 7-year-old.
Literally. So on their next reading sesh, the girls read an entry about Sarah and Mary going off to visit Mother Elena. This is obviously, again, the Romani woman that Gemma had run into on the way to school. Mother Elena welcomes the girls in warmly, and she begins reading the cards, reading tarot for them, reading their cards. Mother lays the cards out for Sarah and immediately picks them up to start shuffling and says, "The cards are in a bad temper today."
Doesn't count.
Right, she's like, no. And she goes, let me read your palms instead. So Mary gives her palm. She looks at Mary's palm and says that she sees her going on a dark journey. She then drops her hand and goes, I can't see the outcome. Go on. Like, leave. Basically, the next entry that Mary writes about Sarah coming to her, Sarah's distraught. She tells Mary that she isn't able to find the door to the realms anymore. Sarah's worried that she's starting to lose her powers. Mary comforts her and is telling her that she's just tired. She's like, maybe you're just tired and that's why you can't summon the door. Like, I'm sure you're not losing your powers. Later that same night, Eugenia sees that Mary is clearly, like, not being herself. She's, like, a little dour. So she pulls Mary aside into, like, a private meeting, and Mary explains that she's worried about Sarah. Eugenia confirms that, like, yeah, she is probably losing her powers. She says that some girls have a flare to life of powers, and then they immediately get snuffed out. So that's likely what Sarah's going through. Eugenia explains that the realms decide who can keep their powers and who basically can't be in the order. So after her meeting with Eugenia, Mary goes to Sarah and tells her that she'll do anything to help Sarah regain her powers, basically. And Sarah says, there is actually a way you can help. Sarah goes on to explain that she has traveled to the Winterlands, which is the barren, frosty forest. So Sarah says, I've gone to the Winterlands. Mary's aghast. She's like, Sarah, we're not old. We're too new. We can't go there. Like, we're not supposed to be there. And Sarah then, like, kind of shifts her demeanor where she's not, like, kind of, like, kikiing. She's just like, don't be a bitch. She goes, don't you see? The elders only want us to see what they can control. Sarah then goes on to accuse Eugenia of taking her powers, basically saying it's not the realms taking my powers. Eugenia has decided she doesn't want me there. Sarah basically tells Mary that the plan is they're going to call forth a dark spirit from the Winterlands and they're going to attach it to them. And that they'll basically be able to have power from this spirit. Mary asks Sarah what they would need to do in order to call forth the dark spirit. And Sarah tells her that they just need to make a small sacrifice. It'll probably be like a garden snake or a bird, no biggie, but the spirit, when the time comes, the spirit will tell us what we need to sacrifice.
I'm like, bitch, you're on your fucking own. I'm out.
Spoilers, it's not going to be a small sacrifice. The next day, the girls are, like, we're present time. They're being instructed on how to waltz. Mrs. Nightwing is, like, teaching them. She pairs the girls off. Pippa and Gemma are paired together as dance partners. While dancing, though, Gemma begins to feel a vision coming on. Instead, this time of, like, falling, she feels like she's moving. And then she sees a shimmering threshold, and on the other side is a forest. Gemma's trying to make sense of what is happening because this is different than her other visions. But then all of a sudden she sees Pippa, and Pippa looks fucking terrified. And she's like, oh shit, I'm bringing Pippa into my vision with me. So Gemma sees Pippa starting to fall, and so she tries to, like, back out of the vision, afraid that, like, something bad is going to happen to Pippa if she drags her all the way into it. So she closes her eyes, everything goes back to normal, but then she hears Pippa scream. Just like that, vision's fully gone, back in the classroom. She's holding Pippa. Pippa's eyes roll back in her head. She calls Pippa's name, and Mrs. Nightwing hears that Gemma sounds distressed, and she turns around. Pippa stiffens, she falls to the floor, and she begins to convulse. Mrs. Nightwing immediately jumps into action. She sends one girl to go get Bridget to call the doctor. She sends another girl to go get a wooden spoon, and she tells Gemma to hold Pippa's head steady. Gemma thinks that she's killed Pippa, and she just keeps over and over, I'm so sorry, Pippa. I'm so sorry, Pippa. Once everything's calmed down, Mrs. Nightwing tells Gemma, you didn't do anything to her. She has epilepsy. Which is why they want to marry Pippa off before it gets out that she has epilepsy, because it's considered, like, bad blood. Later that night, Gemma goes to check on Pippa. Miss Moore is sitting there with Pippa. The two have a really nice moment.
Miss Moore is the art teacher?
Yes. Okay. Gemma breaks down crying, and Miss Moore comforts Gemma. After Gemma leaves Pippa's room, she's walking through the hall, and she sees the class photos again. And she goes, oh, Sarah and Mary went here in 1871. Let me go look and see if I can find them. But she notices that there is not a picture of 1871. She sees 1870 and then 1872. 1871 is fully missing. Later that night, she asks Mrs. Nightwing about it. She says she notices the class photos and she notices that 1871 is missing. Do you know about that? And Mrs. Nightwing says there isn't a picture of 1871. That's the year we had the fire. We didn't do a class picture out of respect for the two girls that died. They ask who died, and she goes, Sarah Reese Toome and Mary Dowd were their names. Mrs. Nightwing goes on to explain that she was a teacher during the fire, and along with the two girls, the headmistress, Mrs. Spence, was also lost. She ran into the East Wing to save Mary and Sarah. The doors closed. No one could get them open. All three of them died. Felicity asks about Mary and Sarah, asking, like, what were they like? Mrs. Nightwing says that Mary was a very quiet girl. She enjoyed reading, and she always wanted to travel. She specifically wanted to travel to India. Sarah was described to be a free spirit. That's it. Like, she was so spirited. The fire was started when the girls had snuck into the East Wing in the middle of the night. And again, Mrs. Spence ran in. The doors sealed and nobody could pry them open. People were trying to get in to get them out. Couldn't. But while Mrs. Nightwing is talking about Mary and Sarah, Bridget, the housekeeper who's, like, serving dinner, is, like, getting, like, really shaky and flustered. And at one point, she even, like, straight up drops the dish and smashes it all over the floor. So after dinner, our group approaches Bridget and goes, like, you seemed, like, really, like, nervous when she was talking about Mary and Sarah. Like, what's going on? They, like, kind of butter her up and was like, oh, you seem so shaken, let's get you tea, come sit down. Like, they were being really sweet to, like, her to, like, kind of try to get info out of her.
Want some whiskey?
Right. Bridget goes on to tell them that the week before the fire, Bridget was asked to bring breakfast to Sarah's room because Sarah wasn't feeling well. But when Bridget entered the room, she sees Sarah crouched on the floor next to Mary's bed because they were roommates. They seemed to be arguing, and Sarah was trying to talk Mary into something. The argument ends with Sarah kissing Mary and telling her that they'll be together always. Bridget tells the girls that she basically caught the words sacrifice and murder, but she's not really sure what they were talking about. She's more horrified that the girls kissed. And then, let's see.
What could be worse than...
Right.
Honestly, that just kind of tracks. We're, as a society, we're fine with violence and stuff, but anything...
God forbid you kiss a beautiful girl.
Yeah,
right.
Anything out of the norm, the scandal.
Right.
Scandal.
But, again, like I said, the sacrifice isn't going to be something small. That's why Mary was like, but it's murder. It is going to be kind of small, though. Like, child-sized.
Oh, so easy.
Right. After speaking with Bridget, the girls decide that they need to speak with Mother Elena. They go out after curfew. They sneak out to the Romani camp. There's this point where the girls come out of the forest and there's just a group of men, the Romani men, just sitting around having drinks. And they kind of act like men towards the girls. But then Gemma notices Kartek, who is basically like, oh, like, these are my girls. You can't be near them. The other girls kind of wander off, and someone goes up and grabs Gemma and goes, she doesn't look like she wants to be with you, dude. Maybe she wants to come with me. And then Gemma grabs Kartik and, like, kisses him. And then there's, like, a... Anyways, so the other girls have gone to see Mother Elena. Gemma and Kartik basically have a fight because, of course, they did.
Mother Elena is the Romani woman who stopped like the carriage when she first arrived. Okay.
Correct.
It's a lot of characters, and I keep them all straight.
She's also the one that was, like, reading the cards for the girls and was like, bad temper today. Like, go.
Try again later. Outlook
Right.
not good.
Okay. So, all of them have now gone and they're with Mother Elena. Mother Elena calls Gemma Mary. The girls are kind of like playing into this and gently asking things about Mary and Sarah, but like are kind of like, yes, this is Mary. Tell us more about Sarah. And
they
then,
were roommates.
Right. So they're playing into the like delusions, basically implied that Mother Elena maybe has dementia. She goes on to basically say that Sarah is a hungry one. Saying that she wants knowledge and power, and Mother Elena tells Gemma that they need to keep an eye on Sarah. They need to make sure that she doesn't go down the wrong path. Mother is worried that Sarah is going to try to call a spirit from the Winterlands, saying that if Sarah binds one to her, her mind will be corrupted. She tells the girls that a dark spirit would ask for a sacrifice. Gemma asks what kind of sacrifice. But Mother Elena starts to get kind of triggered, and she goes, "Where's Carolina? I sent her for water." And then she gets more and more agitated. Let's see. She then cups Gemma's face and says, "You brought it on us. You destroyed us. We lost it all." And then with that, the girls are like, "We should probably fucking go." More fast forwarding, for whatever reason, the French teacher is taking the girls on a field trip to see a performing spiritualist. I know that, like, during this time, spiritualism is kind of, like, treated as a science, and it's just kind of one of those, like, fascinating things. And spiritualism would be, like, seances and stuff like that. So, Madame Romanoff is a spiritualist who's coming into town, and she'll be performing. The girls plan that they're going to ask Madame Romanoff to contact Sarah and Mary for them. At the show, Madame asks for volunteers who have a loved one that they wish to be contacted. Felicity stands up and says that her dear friend needs help contacting her dearly departed mother, Sarah Reese Toome. Gemma goes up on stage. During the performance, she's very easily able to figure out that Madame is not actually channeling Sarah or her actual mother. She's like, basically, Madame is like, "Ooh, your mother. Is that you, dear?" And then Gemma's like, "Oh, do you remember our garden in this city?" And then she's like, "Oh, yes, lovely garden." And then she's like, "Well, my mother never fucking lived in that city, so I know that you're lying," type of thing. And then Gemma starts getting, like, really aggravated that this lady's just up here lying. And she thinks to herself that she wishes she could take the Madam to go see actual spirits. And as she's thinking this, a door opens. And she and Madam are now in the Winterlands together. Gemma asks the spirits that she kind of sees wandering if Sarah is amongst them. But then she sees her mother. So she runs off after her mother. Her mother says that she can't stay there long as there are spies everywhere. Gemma asks her what is happening to her. Her mother explains that she has a great and terrible power, telling her that she will learn to control it in time, but Gemma needs to use the power in order to try to... Wait, hang on. Gemma needs to work with her power. So basically, like, if you don't accept the visions and try to use your powers more, you're going to lose your powers, essentially. Gemma asks her mother about the Rakshasa. Basically, they warned her not to use the powers, and she's like, "So you're telling me I need to, but they're telling me not to. Who are they?" Her mother...
If I don't use them, I'll lose them.
Right, exactly. Her mother basically say that the Rakshasa are just afraid of her. They're afraid of what will happen if she fails, but they're also afraid of what will happen if she, like, fully gains her powers and becomes successful. Because, again, powerful women are terrifying. So she tells Gemma that she's the link to the Order's power, and that Gemma is going to bring magic back to the realms. But this is going to be incredibly dangerous. Circe is trying to gain access to the power. Gemma asks who Circe is, but her mother says it isn't the time for you to know yet. Side note, in my... Nope, not gonna say that. I put that in, and I'm like, I think I don't want to tell you that part. Anyways,
Another mystery box on the pile.
Right. Her mother tells her that their time is up. She explains to Gemma how she's going to get home. Basically, like, picture where you left, and then you'll be able to go back there. She then tells Gemma to find the garden. She says it'll be safe to meet in the garden. Next time you come here, just picture a garden. That night, Gemma wakes up the other girls and she tells them that they need to go out and have a meeting. She says that she has something important to share with them. Once they get to the cave, Gemma fully lore dumps. She tells them everything about everything. The girls are kind of skeptical, but then they're like, okay, let's hold hands and try to picture a door of light then. And just like that, they're in the garden. Gemma finds her mother. And like during this, the girls are kind of like told like, oh, you can picture things for what you want. So each girl kind of has their moment. Pippa conjures up a knight and makes herself beautiful, and then Felicity wants to be mighty, and this is just like a huntress, like a naked huntress just appears.
Oh my god.
So basically, but the
Roommates.
huntress then starts teaching Felicity.
I really kind of like Felicity though.
I'm down with her, but like also I've read the whole series.
Oh, it's a series.
Yeah, there's 3 books.
Oh my god. Okay.
Yeah. So
I think she's kind of like, I'm sure there's a better comparison, but like almost a Nesta character where it's like they're kind of bitchy, but that's
Yeah.
what you love about them.
and she has a reason. There's like also this theme that like
She's an alcoholic.
Oh my god.
no.
I was making a joke about Nesta, but
I know. She gonna roll down some fucking stairs.
10,000 of them multiple
10,000
times.
of them.
No, but there's like this theme that like all the girls are damaged in a way.
Okay.
Anyway, so right, Gemma's talking to her mother. Her mother, let's see.
Felicity Huntress.
Yeah, because I
Ooh,
like
that's a
pulled
good
that
last
part
name.
out, but then I'm like, that part I needed to tell you that. Otherwise, other things won't make sense. Anyways, so blah blah blah. Gemma's talking to her mother. Her mother basically like lore dumps. Gemma asks her mother how she knows about the order. Her mother pauses and then she says, "A woman came to me telling me when you were about 5, she kind of told me about the order and that you were going to be very powerful." And the woman who approached her tells her about Circe. Basically, like, Circe's going to try to find your daughter, like, stay away from her. She confirms for Gemma that this is the reason that she didn't want Gemma to return to London or attend boarding school. Like, there was a reason behind this. I didn't want you to come here because I knew you'd be in danger if you did come here. Also, her mom didn't have a very good boarding school experience either, so that probably will generational trauma for you. She then explains that Amara was her guardian, and she had to kill herself in order to avoid being claimed. Yeah, so basically, if the spirit had gotten to her, she would have been corrupted, so she did the only thing she could and kept herself, like, out of that,
So
the
was
Winterlands and all that.
Was Amar going to kill her, or did he just happen to have a dagger that she like took and used?
So I think he was going to try to protect her from Circe. And obviously you can't really kill a shadow demon. So it, just by happenstance, like, he was like trying to do the only thing he could think to do to protect her, and obviously he failed. And she's like, okay, cool. I have no way out of this, and I can't be trapped in the Winterlands, like, because my daughter to some extent is probably going to need me, so I'm just gonna kill myself to avoid being trapped and corrupted.
Do you defeat a shadow demon by turning on a light, or does that just create more shadows for the demon?
Who's to say? I don't know. I'm not a shadow demonologist.
Continue.
Okay. Okay. Sorry. My thing scrolled. Okay, Jesus, how far did I scroll? Okay. Her mother, tells...
Sorry, I opened a Reddit post earlier and then set my phone down. So I pick up my phone again and I'm on Twitter and stuff is typed out. Because when I set my phone down, it clicked on the Twitter link, clicked on create post, and started typing. I'm just like, back. What the hell happened?
Yeah, I accidentally hit the edit button, so it popped up my keyboard, but it shifted my whole document, like, up, and I'm like, wait.
Oh.
Okay, so her mother tells Gemma that she needs to rebuild the order, basically, like, this is your mission, this is your destiny.
I don't want to.
Well, they're already in the process of it, so.
Right. She tells
Way
her
ahead of you, Mom.
that after the realms were closed, the members went into hiding. So, like, the order is out there. You need to find them and, like, kind of bring everybody back together.
Getting the gang back together.
Right, exactly. Gemma tells her mother that she's brought her friends here with her. Her mom's, like, super excited about this. Like, oh, you brought your friends here? If you have brought multiple people here, you are so much fucking more powerful than anybody thought you were going to be. And then...
Power of friendship.
Right. Her mother then asks, like, but do you trust your friends? And Gemma says, yeah, they're my friends. And she says, Mary and Sarah were friends too, and they betrayed each other.
But they were roommates.
Right.
I'm definitely doing a counter, and it's just gonna be one counter every time roommates are brought up.
Literally. And then Gemma says, like, what happened to them? And
that's a mystery box for later.
Yeah, she goes, what happened to them? Because I haven't seen their spirits anywhere. But, like, she's literally only talked to 3 ghosts. So it's like, I mean, you haven't seen every fucking ghost of every dead person that's ever existed, girl. Like, what do you mean?
There's a lot of dead people. They'll be around.
Right. So, Gemma asks what happened. But her mom kind of brushes her off and says, we shouldn't waste time talking about the past.
Oh my god. What broke you, Nick?
No, literally, like, nah, not the time for that. It's not that point in the plot yet.
Right.
That shit drives me crazy.
I know.
By the way, when it's like, I can't tell you right now. I'm like, if you tell me, you might be able to help me.
Right, literally.
Give me one good reason other than, plot contrivance. I can't.
Okay, her mother tells her, or her mom just basically says, we're not going to talk about the past, but they no longer exist. Specifically, they no longer exist. Gemma then sees the little girl that she's spoken with, and Gemma asks who she is. Her mother says, that's my helper. Gemma asks her, like, what's her name? Her mom kind of closes her eyes, like, that's a touchy subject for her. And then she just says, I don't know.
Mystery box.
And the test determined that was a lie. Her mother tells her that's all for today. Go frolic with your friends. She goes, returns to her friends. Pippa picks up a fistful of berries. And she goes to eat them. But Gemma says, no, bitch. If you eat them, you're here forever. And that was clearly a plot point I skipped over while I was rewriting this. But if you eat anything in the realms, you can never leave the realms, essentially, is how that is.
That reminds me of something.
I mean, that's typically, like, fae,
Lore,
like, mythology, like, lore. That's a pretty standard part of just, like,
because
the
even
fae.
Pharaoh is like, you don't eat their food.
Right.
Yeah.
Because if you do, then you'll be trapped in the land of the fairies forever, and you can't go back. So time passes, the girls go back to the garden, and they all meet Gemma's mother. They come across some runes while they're there, and Gemma's mom explains that they are the Oracle Stones. They hold the magic of the realms. She tells the girls that once the order has been restored, they'll be taught how to use the runes. And basically Gemma's like, can we use them now though? And her mom is like, nope. If you do that and you don't know how to properly harness the power, then you may be inviting something in that you don't mean to invite in.
That'd be fucking me, because I don't like reading instructions. I would just be like, I don't need to learn how to use these. Here we go.
But at least that's a reason for, hey, we're not going to do this now. Like, here's the reasoning behind it, even if it's a Chekhov's reason that comes into play later.
Yeah.
It's better than just, no, not the time.
Not the time.
These are stubborn teenage girls. She later tells Gemma that the stones will be influenced by the state of their mind and what purpose they have. So basically, how they're feeling emotionally and what they want to achieve with this power is going to, like, determine how the power impacts them. So which is another reason they need to learn how to have full control before they do it. But we know that we are dealing with stubborn teenage girls, so obviously they will be using the magic at some point, right? So, they return. Kartek is pinning a note to Gemma's bed. Or no, he has pinned a note to Gemma's bed. She picks it up, and he's basically begging her to stop before he has to do something about it. So he knows that they keep going into the realms, and he writes a note very much like, please, I don't want to have to do something about this. Please don't keep doing this. Did that. Another side quest is that them chilling in the garden is that Pippa begins talking to them about wanting to stay there. Gemma tells her that this is a place of dreams. This isn't somewhere where you can stay. And Pippa simply says, but what if I choose the dream? This is going to be going hand in hand with a lesson that Miss Moore had given them regarding choices. Basically, there can't be light without darkness. Every choice has a consequence. You just have to pick the kind of consequence and how to live with it type of thing. Like, that's kind of like a whole thing that's been happening. I'm mentioning the side quest because Family Day rolls around. Pippa's there with her parents and Mr. Bumble. The girls bump into Pippa. She introduces Mr. Bumble as her fiancé.
Aww.
Yes, the 16-year-old has been betrothed to the 50-something.
Eat the fruit! I'd eat the fucking fruit. I don't care the consequences.
And I'm sure that maybe we can guess where this is going.
I eat the fruit. I don't care what happens.
I will pick that fruit and make a pie for her.
Literally.
Yeah.
So, let's see. Other sort of side quests that I'm not going to go over, but kind of become bigger in the books. Gemma's father is incredibly addicted to laudanum. Since he's lost her mother, he's like absolutely beside himself, but he's now like a full shell of a man. Like, he's not the father she remembers. A very big driving force behind her wanting to use the power of the runes is to help heal her dad's addiction, essentially, and like bring him back to who he once was. And then as life is happening, Kartek basically keeps like coming in and out, like he keeps bumping into the girls here and there, and so there's like a little romance happening between them. I mostly skipped over because the shit is already going to be really fucking long, but later in the series it'll become more of a thing. And then Felicity's sort of side quest is she's the daughter of a well-renowned admiral, and her mother has fully moved to Paris. Felicity claims that her father spends a lot of time away at sea, so her mom has decided to spend all of her time with her friends in Paris. I believe that there's maybe like a store or something, like her mom has like maybe a career of some sort in Paris, but more or less it's confirmed that she has a lot of roommates in Paris. Felicity
I was going to make a joke about her dad at sea and thought, no, not the time to be weird.
Yeah, but Felicity very much is like, she hasn't seen her mom in years, but she's like, but once I graduate, my mom's going to send for me and I'm going to move to Paris to be with my mom.
I've got a lot of aunts.
Stuff and things, intentions, etc.
Intentions?
I skipped quite a bit of things, but the girls bring the magic into the real world. They do some minor shit with it. Nothing really negative happens, so they're like, this is chill.
No consequences, sweet.
Right. Mr. Bumble is scheduled to be coming to visit Pippa, and the girls have decided that if they tell him that Pippa's epileptic, then he won't want to marry her, right? So, like, this is their plan.
God, they're so stupid.
I know. So one night, Jem and Co. are chilling in, like, Felicity basically has, like, a fort tent thing in the, like, main sitting room where, like, her secret club, like, goes and meets. It's basically, like, very much Felicity is, like, the richest, most popular girl there, so she kind of can get away with a lot more stuff. So she just has, like, this fortress in the middle of the sitting room where she chills, and the girls are sitting in there. Miss Moore comes over and pokes her head in, and she says, like, I've never been in here, like, it's very beautiful, can I come sit with you?
No, you cannot leave.
Right.
No adults allowed.
Right. Felicity's holding the journal, so Miss Moore asks, like, oh, where'd you find that? And she goes, oh, as you suggested, I went to the library, and that's where I found this book. She then says it's the story of Mary and Sarah. We've been reading it to each other aloud, like we're reading it together, and she goes, oh, can I read the excerpt this evening? So Miss Moore takes the journal. She begins reading.
I'm writing down a prediction. Just continue.
Okay. This is the final entry in the journal.
I'm assuming she's a big bad.
The night
Giving Wednesday teacher.
I haven't seen that, so don't spoil.
Shit, I'm sorry. Oh no.
It's fine. I mean, predictable shit is predictable. So, the night that Sari and Mary make the sacrifice, this is the last entry in the journal. This is the one that Miss Moore's reading. The entry begins with the girls going into the woods and waiting for Mother Elena's daughter, Carolina. The girls have promised that they have a doll for her. The girls meet up with her in the forest, and they bring her to the school, and they bring her into the East Wing. Once they get in there, the girls light candles, and then Sarah just grabs an old rag doll and throws it at Carolina, and she begins to cry because she thought that she was going to get this really beautiful doll. She didn't really want to go into the school, and now that she's in the school with the girls, they're not being super nice, and she's kind of freaked out. She's also, like, incredibly young. She's, like, maybe, like, 5 years old. So she's crying. Mary tries to, like, comfort her and soothe her, and Sarah says, leave it alone. We have shit to do. So
if you're gonna kill the girl, at least be nice to her.
Right.
God.
But Sarah's point of view is, we're going to kill her. Why are you being nice to her? Like, she doesn't matter anyway. She's a dead girl walking. So Mary holds Carolina down, and she begins to muffle her cries. Sarah calls forth the dark spirit. When the spirit shows up, Carolina begins, like, fucking shrieking, because this is scary, right? And she's a little kid. So Mary holds her mouth more tightly, and as Sarah's having this interaction with the dark spirit, Mary slides her hand up and covers the girl's nose.
Oh god, it breaks my heart.
Yeah. Carolina goes limp, her eyes are vacant. The creature sees that she's dead, and it is fucking pissed. It basically screams, I needed her whole. Your sacrifice means nothing now. Mary is like, this is going real bad real quick, and she fucking hauls ass. She runs to get Eugenia. She basically wakes her up, and she's like, I need you, shit's not good. So Eugenia goes. They both enter the Winterlands. In the Winterlands, the spirit is beginning to take over Sarah. Basically, like, you promised me a sacrifice, you're now the sacrifice. Eugenia tells Sarah she's not, like, I'm not gonna let you be lost here, essentially. The spirit says, I have to have a sacrifice, though, otherwise the balance is gonna be thrown off. So Eugenia says, like, if you let Sarah go, you can have me.
No! Let Sarah die! She tried to kill a fucking kid! Let Mary die, too! There you go! Fuck that! I'm done.
So Eugenia throws her amulet. Eugenia has a crescent eye amulet. She throws it to Mary. She tells Mary, take Sarah, get the fuck out, and close the door. Basically, like, once you get there, immediately close it. Like, do not pass go. You need to fucking seal the shit. She tells them that the runes have to remain closed until the order can get its shit sorted, basically. So Eugenia's, like, the leader of the order, and she's like, this shit's not going good. You gotta close it, and they gotta figure their shit out. Okay, so Eugenia throws her crescent amulet to Mary, tells her to take Sarah, get through the door, close it immediately. Once they've returned, telling them that the realms need to remain closed until the order can find its way again. The creature is furious. It attacks Eugenia. Mary and Sarah jump through the doorway. Eugenia begins screaming an incantation and seals the realms from the inside. Once on the other side, Mary uses the amulet to physically seal the door on their side, and Sarah demands that Mary reopen it. Mary refuses. Sarah runs at her and knocks over a candle. Mary flees. Like, she just dips.
I hope they both burn to death.
Mary gets out into the woods. She's watching the East Wing burn and thinks to herself that all traces of magic have vanished. And so has Mary Dowd. She thinks to herself that Mary no longer exists. She entered the woods that night, and she will not be leaving. Miss Moore now closes the book, telling them... Miss Moore closes the book and tells them that that's where the story has ended. She thanks the girls for sharing the story with her, telling them that it was most fascinating. As the girls are unpacking, like, what happened in the story, it occurs to Gemma that her mother also said that Mary no longer exists. That night, Gemma is not able to sleep, so she goes to visit Kartik. She wants to prove to him that she's not like other girls, she's a good girl. She tells him that she wants to show him magic and that the magic can be beautiful. So she knows, like, he's frightened because the last time the realms were opened, like, they were trying to do some punk ass shit. And I want to tell him that, like, I'm not evil, basically. Like, this can be a good thing. Like, I'm not a bad person. And he is not fucking having it. She feels, like, really rejected. She, like, calls herself like an abomination, basically, like, just like, I'm this hideous creature, like, feeling super bad about herself. And she runs home.
It's me, I am the great and terrible beauty.
On her way back to bed, she runs into Bridget. Bridget's like, what the fuck are you sneaking around for? And she says, I couldn't sleep. Bridget assumes that Gemma's like, oh, you're missing your mom, like, that's why you're wandering around at night. Gemma basically says, please don't tell Mrs. Nightwing. And she goes, I won't, as long as you go to bed right now. Like, no more wandering, go to bed. I won't say anything to anybody. And I missed this part. When the girls were talking to Bridget about Sarah and Mary, Bridget says that Sarah especially was like she was not cool, and she like walked around calling herself something fancy, but she couldn't remember what it was. As Gemma is passing Bridget on the stairs, Bridget stops her and says, oh, I remembered that fancy name that Sarah used to call herself. Mrs. Spence used to tell Bridget that Sarah thought herself a goddess, like the Greeks. And if you know anything about Greek mythology, gentle listener, you know that Sarah indeed called herself Circe. Gemma thinks to herself, I know who Circe is, I know that she's a living person, and I know that I can fight a living person, basically. So, like, instead of some concept of evil, she's like, this is a person, and I can do something with that, basically.
If it bleeds, we can kill it.
Right. Now, at some point, it was mentioned / noticed that where the portrait of 1871 should have been, there's, like, clearly discoloration in the wallpaper, so there is a portrait. She knows there's a portrait, and now she's like, I'm not just curious, I have to fucking find it so I know what this bitch looks like. Gemma eventually finds the photo. It's like hidden behind 1872. So she notices that 1872 seems like it maybe got wet at some point and is really crinkly.
They couldn't have burned it. Like,
right.
Okay.
But 1872 is really crinkly on the front, but when she looks on the back, it's completely smooth and not crinkly. And she's like, So she picks it up. 1871 is in the frame behind 1872. She's like, okay, cool. All of the names are listed, like, from left, like, boom, boom, boom. She's tracing her way along. And when she gets to Sarah, Sarah's head is turned to the left. So she's not face on because she's looked over to the side. She's looking at her best friend, Gemma's mom. Gemma is furious because she obviously recognizes her mom in the photo. And she goes in the garden to confront her mom. Gemma, like, full on lays into her for lying to her. Also for murdering a child.
She don't fucking belong in a garden. She belongs in hell.
Like, literally. Her mom basically tells her that she had realized Gemma was beginning to develop powers when she was really young. And she was hoping that she could keep Gemma safe long enough for the powers to, like, flare and then fade, essentially. Gemma asks when her mother found out that Circe was alive, and her mother explains a year ago, Amar came to her and said that Circe has been using the spirit that is bound to her to track down the members of the order. She's, like, looking for you, essentially. After this, Gemma tells her mom, since I know the truth now, your soul's task is complete, you can fucking go. Her mom basically is like, please, I just need you to forgive me.
No! Bitch!
And we know our girl Gemma is a stubborn and spiteful hoe, so rather than forgive her mom, she goes, oh, by the way, you're wrong about the fucking runes. Was that a fucking lie too? We've been using them and nothing bad has happened. Her mom is now like, what the fuck? And she tells Gemma that by using the magic and taking it out of the realms have been left open and unguarded. She's like, one of Circe's creatures could be in the fucking garden now, and you wouldn't know it because of what you've done. Like, someone here could be corrupted. Gemma's like, you're fucking wrong, you're lying. She leaves. As she's leaving, Felicity's huntress approaches her. She asks Gemma if she'd like to go on a hunt with her, and Gemma basically says, no, maybe another day. The huntress then holds out some berries. Gemma's like, she knows I can't eat these. Why the fuck is she trying to get me to eat them? Gemma's like, no, I'm good. And the huntress says, are you sure? They're really delicious. And Gemma's like, the fuck? And, like, leaves. The next night, the girls come to wake up Gemma to, like, take them into the garden. Gemma says she's not feeling well. Felicity says, fine, feel better, but you're not getting off easy tomorrow. However, the next day, the girls are all called into Mrs. Nightwing's office. It turns out that the plan to get Pippa out of marriage has colossally backfired. Rather than calling off the engagement, Mr. Bumble confronted her parents, and they convinced him that she was lying because she was nervous about getting married. So, instead of letting Pippa finish out the school year, they're taking her home tomorrow. She's going to be married immediately. Pippa is there with her mom.
One of us has to marry her first.
Right. The mom and Pippa leave the office. Mrs. Nightwing pulls out the journal, slams it on her desk, and she goes, who wants to explain this? She basically says, I've read every single fucking page. Where did you get this book? Gemma steps up and says, I found it in the woods. Mrs. Nightwing tells them that Pippa already told me that Miss Moore gave it to you. Gemma goes to say that's not true at all, but Felicity goes, yep, that's true. Miss Moore gave it to us. You're right. And then, Gemma says, that's not true, and Felicity doubles down and says, well, Miss Moore told us to go to the library, and that's where you told us you found it. She told us to go to the library to learn more about the order, specifically is what Felicity says. Anne and Felicity then just fucking keep jumping in and, like, saying more shit about Miss Moore, like, adding fuel to the flames, and, like, oh, she did this, and then she did that, and she took us to the caves, and, so basically, Mrs. Nightwing is like, I've heard enough. I'm going to be dismissing Miss Moore. You guys are impressionable young ladies, and she is very clearly a bad influence. She can't...
Damn, they getting a good person fired, clearly. And
Right.
I thought she might be bad.
So that night, Pippa approaches Gemma and says, I had to tell them about Miss Moore. That was the only way they'd let me stay here another night, and I need to say goodbye. Like, I need to go to the garden and say goodbye to them, like my Prince Charming, basically. And then Pippa even says something so fucking crazy, and she's like, you don't know what it is to lose somebody without saying goodbye. And it's like, ho, be so fucking for real right now. Like, bitch, shut up.
Dead Mom Club.
Right. So after dinner, Gemma goes to see Miss Moore, who's, like, putting on her gloves and, like, getting ready to leave. And she apologizes to Miss Moore, and Miss Moore's, like, super fucking snarky. Because Gemma's like, I'm so sorry. And she goes, I'm sure you are. Like, you should be, bitch. So she's being super snarky with Gemma, but then she stops and she tells Gemma that she knows she's different from the other girls. She thinks that Gemma's destiny is likely to lie outside of ballrooms and tea parties, and she tells Gemma that no matter what she chooses to do with her life, she hopes that she can still remain a part of Gemma's life. She tells Gemma that she's planning to travel eventually, but she's just going to go find an apartment and then start offering tutoring services to people.
Look for a roommate. Ding.
And she tells Gemma, like, you can come visit me anytime. I'll be in London. Like, anytime you're in the area and you want to see me, please come see me.
Not first.
Right? So that night, Gemma's in the caves. She refuses to take them back to the realms because she knows something fishy's going on and she just doesn't want to go back. She also hasn't told them yet, like, who her mother is. So Felicity goes, well, we all know there's another way to get in there, so we don't need you anymore. She grabs Pippa's hand and they run out of the cave and fucking goes trotting after them. The girls go out into the forest and they find a deer. Felicity explains that they can sacrifice the deer to gain powers. She tells them that the huntress has shared secrets with her. She's told Felicity that she can have power of her own. She just needs to offer the huntress a token.
Oh, God.
Gemma very quickly goes, I'll take you. No, like, I'll take you. That's fine. And Felicity basically says, fuck you. I don't want you. She says that the huntress... Or no, so Gemma first is like, don't do this. Felicity says, the huntress told me that you were going to react this way because you want all the power for yourself, but we can have power too. Pippa and Anne are basically like, the girls are fighting. Like, whose side are we on? Because both of them are making very good points. But then Felicity essentially says that if Pippa has power of her own, she won't need to marry Mr. Bumble. So the girls immediately side with Pippa. Gemma basically says, I'll take you. That's fine. Let's go back to the caves. I'll take you. We don't have to do this. And Felicity says, nope, I'm done riding your coattails. She tells the girls to get naked. So they strip down, fully nude. She's basically like, we'll be able to chase the deer a lot better if we're not in corsets and shit, which is like fair.
That makes sense, but you don't need to be.
And there's like a ravine nearby, so like Felicity's plan is for all of them to chase the deer and chase it off a cliff into the ravine and kill it. They managed to do that. The girls join hands around the dead deer and they are trying to conjure the door, but nothing is happening. Okay, so nothing's happening. Felicity just keeps whispering, but she promised. Kartak just happens to be out and about, and he, like, sees them, and, like, he just sees Gemma and 3 naked girls fucking covered in blood, and he's like, I'm fucking gonna get out of here.
I don't believe him.
I nearly had a heart attack from an ankle.
But Felicity sees him, and there was, like, a other part where they were swimming, and he came up, and Pippa was, like, partially undressed, and Felicity says, the next time you fucking look at us, I'm going to take your eyes. So Felicity is like, you did it. You done did it. I'm gonna fucking take your eyes. So she grabs a stick, she runs up to him and like fucking slices his chest open and he falls back.
With a stick?
Like a really sharp stick. She like runs up and like, don't act like you've never been cut by a stick before.
No, but I've been scratched by a stick. I don't think I've been, maybe I'm just conflating.
It's a book.
Yeah, cut with like.
We're gonna just have to say it's a book.
She drew blood.
Yes.
Okay.
He falls back. She's like over him with the fucking stick about to like jam his eyes out. And Gemma screams for him to stop. And Pippa basically says, Felicity, she said she'd take us. You don't have to do this. Like, Pippa at this point is like, girl, you gotta fucking chill. So then Felicity is like, you're right. Gemma will take us. Once we're there, I'm sure that the Huntress will give us our powers. So they enter the realm. Everything appears normal, but then all of a sudden a breeze blows by and Gemma can smell decay. Like, it just fucking stinks. Normally, the garden smells like roses and spices. Right now, just every once in a while, she just keeps getting this whiff of, like, dead. Gemma's basically like, guys, something's not right. And Felicity is like, shut the fuck up. The Huntress pops up. She sees the girls are covered in blood, and she goes, you did the thing. Come on, let's go to the ruins. Gemma just keeps smelling the smelly smell that smells smelly. She keeps trying to get Felicity's attention and be like, babe, this is not okay. Once at the ruins, the Huntress tells the girls that they should use the power from the ruins to open a door. She says, once you open the door, my mistress will give you what you deserve. Exact quote. Once we go see my mistress, she will give you what you girls deserve.
Okay, at that point, everyone has to be like, okay, I don't like the way she said that.
And that's when Felicity starts to wise up, because she's like, you never told me you had a mistress. Like, what is going on? The Huntress's eyes turn black, and she starts to grow taller. The Huntress grabs Felicity. Felicity's eyes start to roll into the back of her head and turn black. Gemma, and I haven't necessarily mentioned Gemma's description, but she's like a big-ass ginger. Like, she's a linebacker. She's like big ol' Amazon babe. She fucking runs at them.
And she calls Anne Doey?
And there was like a thing where Felicity whispers to Pippa, I have new gloves. Don't tell Gemma. She'll fucking stretch them out with her big-ass hand.
Oh my god.
Yeah. She's like, you can try them on, but don't tell Gemma.
Okay, so first off, Gemma runs at the Huntress saying it's clobbering time.
Yes.
And also, all I want to do is get stepped on by you, giant woman, giant woman.
Literally, she's got red hair, bright green eyes, and she's fucking big.
Gemma or...
Gemma. Felicity is,
I was asking about the Huntress.
she's naked. I don't know what she looks like beyond her being naked, but Felicity has like really like white blonde hair.
My mind's running wild.
Pippa has dark brown hair, and she has like these beautiful violet eyes. So like Felicity is like the charming one, Pippa's the beautiful one, and then Anne is there.
Oh, poor Anne.
What color is Anne's hair?
I'm assuming like some sort of mousy blonde type.
Mousy
dirty.
blonde. Oh my god, we fucking hate
No, I'm just thinking of Felicity blonde, kind of like the pretty one,
like
and then
Snow. But like Pippa's the beautiful one. She has like
right Pippa like brown hair. I feel like that's some like color theory of blondes being spunky, redheads being feisty, dark hair being like a little more mousy, but also like beautiful, fairest of them all type tropes.
Yeah. So Gemma. Okay. Felicity's grabbed, her eyes are turning black. Gemma is a fucking badass, and she runs at them like a linebacker and fucking knocks them down. Pippa screams and fucking takes off down the hill. Gemma screams to Anne, help me get Felicity, we gotta fucking go. So they pick up Felicity, they're dragging her. They get to the other side of the river, because they were on the wrong side of the river. Then they see Pippa.
Where the horses are.
Then they see Pippa. She's, for some fucking reason, on a boat. Like, Pippa has gotten on a boat in the river and has, like, floated, like, fucking away from shore. And she's, like, freaking the fuck out. Like, she just panicked and just did some dumbass shit. The Wraith is where Pippa is, and it's, like, pacing the shoreline, waiting for the boat to come in. Gemma opens the door and gets Felicity and Anne through the door. Pippa sees that they're leaving, and she fucking freaks out and falls out of the boat. The Wraith, now that she's in the water, the Wraith fucking descends on her. Gemma gets through the door and closes it. They get through the door. Pippa's laying on the ground of the cave, and she's fully convulsing. So the girls are back on the other side. Pippa's in the realm still. Gemma runs to get Kartik, and is basically like, I need you. And he's like, what the fuck is happening? So he goes out to the cave, sees Pippa, picks her up, helps them get her back to the school, and they get her in bed. Gemma runs to get Mrs. Nightwing and is like, it's going down, it's bad. So they get help. Gemma takes her amulet, gives it to Felicity, and says, you need to keep this. If I don't come back, I need you to find the order. I need them to know that you're one of them, essentially. Felicity just looks at Gemma and says, promise me you're coming back. Gemma goes into the garden, and her mother runs up to her.
She didn't promise she was coming back, so she may live.
Her mom runs up to her, and she's like, I was so worried. Like, I saw shit go down. I'm so glad you're okay. But we gotta go quick, because we gotta save your friend. We can save your friend. Let's go. And so her mother leads her to the runes. She tells Gemma to touch them and take the power so she can save Pippa. Gemma is like, this seems suspicious. But her mother begs Gemma.
Hey, remember that garden that we used to go to in the real world? Ah, yes, lovely garden. There was no garden.
So she's like, Gemma, you have to trust me. Do you want the death of your friend to be on your conscience? So Gemma touches the stone.
No guilt like mom guilt.
Right. She touches the stone with her left hand. Her mom reaches out, grabs her with her right hand, and she just says, at last. And she turns into the Wraith. The Wraith fully is, like, clinging to Gemma, and they begin, like, tumbling through time and space. And Gemma is, like, feeling the surge of power, and she's like, I could do fucking anything with this. Like, I could be anybody. I could do whatever the fuck I want. Maybe I should just let Circe take me, because maybe this is an okay thing. But then she kind of realizes, like, that's not me thinking, that's the Wraith thinking, and so she starts thinking about her mom and her friends and wanting to save them, and all of a sudden, instead of, like, tumbling through time and space, they're, like, descending upon London together. Gemma's like, wait, no, this isn't what I want, and then boom, they're back in the garden. The Wraith is fucking pissed. They're, like, fucking tussling. just shit's happening. They're tussling. Gemma's like defeating the Wraith through like the power of positivity, kind of like, because as she's thinking more positive thoughts, the Wraith is like shrinking and getting smaller and weaker. And then
I like that.
Huh?
I like that. Just it's kind of a basic thing of like, you know, almost like a Dementor, negativity and self-doubt, and having like something positive to basically, you know, defeat depression, focus on the good things in life.
Yes.
I like that.
Gemma, the Wraith is like completely itty bitty. Gemma grabs a huge ass rock and fucking smashes the runes.
I thought you were gonna smash the Wraith.
No. She fucking shatters the runes.
Okay.
The Wraith is now like fucking deceased. Gemma makes her way back to the river and she finds Pippa, who's like in the river entombed in ice. So Gemma uses her big ass rock and smashes through the ice, and she reaches into the water and she grabs Pippa and pulls her out. They're laying on the shore. Pippa slowly begins to open her eyes. And she asks, basically, Gemma's like, we gotta go back. And then Pippa opens her eyes and says, but what will happen to me if I go back? And Gemma says, I don't know, but you have to come back. And Pippa says, my whole life has been about have-tos. I'm gonna make a choice. So she grabs berries out of the grass. She tells Gemma there are no wrong choices. There are just different choices. And she eats the berries. Gemma leaves, like, basically as Gemma's, like, summoning the door and leaving, Pippa has gone across the river. She's with her knight, and they're...
Away from the horses.
Yes. They're going, off to
Away
live...
from 50-year-olds.
Right, to, like, live happily ever after. Gemma returns, and she sees Felicity sobbing, and she knows that it's because Pippa has died.
So the knight that was conjured up was, you know, good, harmless, but the Huntress...
Well, the Huntress
only one thing became corrupted, basically. It was just like a who is the corruption sort of thing, and the Huntress...
Of course,
obviously.
it's Felicity's conjuring, so...
Were there
but
more...
also, if you think about it, Felicity was going to be the easiest one to turn.
Oh, yeah.
Because she wanted power. Like, that was always her thing, is she wanted to be powerful, and that is going to make a lot more sense as we learn more of Felicity's backstory as to why she desired power. But basically, like, Pippa just wanted true love, essentially, because that was very clearly not something she was going to end up getting. And Felicity just wanted power, and because she wanted power, that means, like, absolute power corrupts absolutely. So, like...
Yep.
Yeah, so that was why the Wraith came in and posed as the Huntress, because it was kind of like, she's gonna be the easiest one for me to fucking make do some shady shit. So Pippa's funeral rolls around, Kartek approaches Gemma, and he basically just offers his condolences, and as he's leaving, Gemma just looks at him and says, tell him there is no going back. Basically, like, I've done what I've done, and I'm going to see this through, basically. I don't know what I'm going to do from here, but I'm going to fix this and tell them that just stop even fucking telling me to stop, because I'm not going to. Felicity comes up to Gemma, and she asks if Pippa's actually gone. Gemma says, yeah, she is. Felicity says, I keep seeing shadows out of the corner of my eyes, and I'm having these horrific nightmares. What if the creature did something to me? What if it damaged me in some way? And Gemma says, we're all damaged. And that's the end.
Oh, shit. That's good. That's fucking good.
So fucking good. Like, I love this series so much.
I hope
like,
her mom's soul burns up in a million fucking flames. She don't deserve a field of flowers. She deserves fucking ice and frost.
Right. And one...
Iris is just melting.
I know. In, as we go into the books, there's this one part where they see spirits, because part of what the Order does is they would, like, help spirits cross over, like, they'd help them kind of do what they needed to do and cross over into the afterlife, and basically there's, like, a triangle waist shirt factory type of moment, where there's, like, a bunch of, like, burned up little girls, and it's just so cool. It's so cool. Like, there's just really cool shit that is coming. And the final twist absolutely fucking gutted me. And I laid hints in this, and I'm like, we're gonna pull those hints out of there.
All right, so just for clarifications, then, if they are future plot points, just say mystery box. So Miss Moore was just like, yeah, snarky, and then but that was the end of her for this book.
For this book, yeah.
Okay.
She was basically being snarky because the girls got her fired, but then she was kind of like, I know Gemma's different from them, and I know that it's hard to be different in this world, especially as a woman. So she basically wanted to be like, choices are choices, and you get to decide what you do with your life. And I think that you are greater than tea parties, basically. I think you have more that you could be doing with your life. And I care about you. I want to be there for you. Miss Moore has very much been a stand-in for a mother type thing. So that was sort of
she didn't kill a little girl.
Right. I would love to continue to mentor you type of thing. Just because I'm leaving and just because it's your fault, doesn't mean that I don't care about you type of thing.
All right. And was that actually Gemma's mom the entire time, or was it Huntress Wraith?
It was Gemma's mom until basically
until the touch the stones at the end.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, basically when she told her mom to get out of there.
She got out of there.
Yes. And at the end, and I don't fully remember if her mom comes back, but part of defeating the Wraith is Gemma just screaming, I forgive you, repeatedly. That was kind of the power of positivity. I forgive my mom, letting it go type of thing.
I wouldn't forgive the bitch.
I know.
And my prediction was, Miss Moore was either Sarah or Mary. One of them. Was that confirmed or mystery box?
Oh, no, Sarah
it's not
is
confirmed.
Cersei, but we don't know who Cersei is.
Correct. And we don't know what she looks like. So
yeah, because we got the picture of, was it Sarah looking at Mary in the 71?
Sarah looking at Mary, so she could see that Mary was clearly her mom. And
but she doesn't tell. She can't tell that Sarah may or may not be Miss Moore because of head turn. And plus magic. Gemma's mom said they don't exist anymore. Obviously, in the way of their identities
they're different people.
Yeah, or sorry, through magic, they could have changed forms over time.
Yeah, so her mom basically decided I'm gonna be a different person. I done fucked up, and I don't want this life. And so she leaves, and then she very immediately meets Gemma's father, who for all intents and purposes is a wonderful father, a doting husband, absolutely great. So she's I got to start my life over. I got to kind of attempt to atone for the horrific things that I did as a stupid teenager type of thing, because her driving force was Sarah's my best friend. Sarah is being Sarah's my roommate. Sarah's being torn from this path that I'm walking on, and I don't want to lose her. So I will do anything to help her type of thing. And part of me feels that it was kind of better that Mary killed Carolina, right? It's kind of better that as shit was very clearly going south, because what are the options in that? Either the Wraith gets Carolina, does what it wants to do, and now...
Oh, wait, did Mary kill her to stop it from happening? Okay, let me back up. Okay, so...
Objectively, murdering a child is always going to be wrong.
It's wrong, but if she was doing it to stop a greater evil from coming in, if there was no turning back, I understand it better. I thought she was sacrificing her to help Sarah, so the intent is different. The intent is different. So if the intent was to save people...
Yes. Carolina's screaming, and Mary covers her mouth, and she's this little girl is suffering. She's terrified. This creature is clearly up to no good. I'm just gonna sort of put this little girl out of her misery because, there's no other option. I've come this far. It is entirely too far to turn back. I can either make this stop for this little girl, or I can see this through, but I know that this is not good.
Yeah, okay, I understand. So for me, when I was hearing
Yeah.
that, I'm like, okay, she sacrificed a girl to give Sarah her magic back. What the fuck?
No.
But no, it
Yeah.
was to stop everything. So intent means, like, everything. So,
Obviously, yeah. I mean, objectively, she should have backpedaled way the fuck sooner, but
not fully developed brain, as we talked about
yeah,
earlier,
unfortunately.
so.
But yeah. So, and then there was, like, another thing. So, Bridget, as Bridget is, like, going around and doing things, she keeps, like, just having these moments with Gemma of, like, just being really freaked out. She's like, you have really fucking freaky green eyes, like, type of thing. Like, she would just stop and, like, look at her, like, you look like somebody, type of thing. So that was, like, another...
Okay.
Yeah. And then, obviously, Mother Elena constantly calling her Mary. So that was kind of like, well, clearly she looks like Mary. And then it's like...
Ms. Nightwing is no one, like, major yet, just, like, there.
Yeah, I feel... And just... I read the first two and most of the third when we moved into the apartment. Because we didn't have cable. Or, no, we didn't have internet. We've never had cable, but we didn't have internet, so there was, like, literally nothing to do, and I'm like, I'm gonna get back into reading, and these were my favorite books, and I'll start here. Just not fully remembering where shit's going. The way Mrs. Nightwing is, like, interacting with the girls in the first book, and knowing that she was at the school when Mary and Sarah were there, I'm kind of thinking that Mrs. Nightwing knows more about the Order than she's letting on.
Oh, probably.
Yeah.
Yeah, just not so far.
Yeah.
Okay.
But yeah. That was that.
That was intense.
I know. And the books only get longer, so R.I.P.
Are they as long as, like, a core of...
No. These two books, the Silver Spine and then the Bronze Spine next to each other, and there's very clearly a spot missing. Those are the other two books up there. Yeah, so they progressively get longer. So yeah.
Okay.
They only get thicker.
I know. So, fans of really long form content,
this is the book for you.
And, like, my episodes are gonna be your favorites because bitch can't shut up. But yeah.
And I only interrupt to edit to.
I mean, and that's...
Sometimes it's jokes, sometimes it's actual questions.
But I don't want to be the only one talking, so...
How'd you like the book?
Thoughts?
Oh, right, you can't read.
Okay.
How dare you say
because
I
she's
can't
blind.
read?
Because she's blind.
I can see just fine. That's what you're saying.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, she can see just...
She can see shadows, and that's why when she's upstairs, I leave the lights on if I'm leaving for work, because I want her to be able to see to get down the stairs.
Again, last night, I hear her tippy-tapping around, so I go into the bedroom, and she's looking at my side of the bed like, I gotta go potty. I'm not there.
My favorite is when I go to let her in, and she's standing staring at the side of the house. And then I say her name, and she goes, oh, the door's over there. But yeah, my sweet girl.
Mrs. Magoo.
She'll be heading off to college in the fall. Because she's turning 18 in July.
Oh, shit.
Yeah.
Please join our Patreon so we can send her to college.
Please.
My 18-year-old's college fund.
And then we gotta wrap it up, because we gotta go save Kit.
Your cat,
and then
yeah. Alright, that was... I forgot the name of the book.
A Great and Terrible Beauty.
A Great and Terrible Beauty.
So who is the Great and Terrible Beauty? Is it Cersei?
Probably.
I'm gonna say the magic and the visions.
Of course, you think it was a woman.
Yeah.
And it was a concept.
I mean,
the concept of women.
You know.
No, wait, I gotta come up with something, because
Oh, yeah.
I've been-
Keep on
I've been-
yapping. A Great and Terrible Yap. Wait, a Great and Great Yap.
Great and Terrible Review? No.
No, whoa. A Great and Terrible Mary.
I think we say marriage.
Oh, God, no!
I was like, how? Stop.
No! I'm in between this.
Oh my god. Okay, side note. I went to go get my hair cut, and I, like, how have you been doing? Blah, 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 podcast. Husband and friend. And she goes, oh, so, like, you and your husband have a podcast and your friend's just there? And I was like, it's more like me and my friend have a podcast and my husband's just there. But yeah, okay, well.
Yap out.
Yap out. I guess. I don't know.
That's it. We're just done.
Mama said yap you out.
Oh my god.
Bye.
Bye.